Well, this sucks. So, at some point in our lives, after we've tried just about every fucking thing you can think of, you gotta swallow your pride and admit defeat. That's what me being in the truck kind of symbolizes right now. As many of you know, it's been a rough year. Um, Lost my best friend a month ago. I've tried to get 1 year off from trucking and failed at that. Spectacularly, I might add. And I'm going to go over all the things I did wrong and what my plans are for the future, but I got to be honest, my ambition has dwindled to just about nothing, when faced with mortality, which is, you know, what happens when you watch multiple people over the last couple years younger than you die suddenly and unexpectedly, sometimes very gruesome fashion. It makes you wonder, what's all this ambition for, I could bust my ass for the next year, get out of debt, and then die instantly and unexpectedly of some random fucking event that I probably could have predicted. You know. Anyway, so I'm back in the truck, full time. And the driving force behind this is the realization that I was in a budget deficit for the last 2 months and that my credit card balances were growing while my income was shrinking. I don't want to get too bogged down in recent events, but I'm just going to go with the flow of my thought process here. So the average age of a truck driver is 62 years old. I'm turning 50 this year. So that gives me, statistically speaking, 12 years of life to do something with. There's no retirement. I tried everything I can. Even though I managed to take 6 months off from trucking, a large portion of that was spent working in the gig economy or doing absolutely nothing at all. Which is what retirement's really supposed to be. I mean, it's taking a break from working. But I still found myself scrambling to try and pay the bills in this ever-increasing subscription-based fucking economy where we don't own anything and we're going to pay a fortune for the things that we own. Keep in mind, I don't own the things I'm paying a fortune for. Particularly the van. Bank can come for that anytime. I just miss a couple payments, bye, it's gone. And then I still owe them the money because that's how greedy everything is. And the van broke down multiple times. You haven't even heard it all. Like, there's a new breakdown that happened. Most recently, one of the seats, the handle broke on it so that it couldn't slide anymore in the middle row. And rather than take it in and pay $1,000 to get it fixed, me and my girlfriend removed it. Of course, that presented an airbag problem, of which I ordered a $50 3D printed resistor to stop my airbag warning from going off. But long story short, I don't have the money to absorb another massive repair, and I still have to get my inspection done, which I guarantee you the crooked mechanics all over the town that I live in will more than likely try and gouge me for a brake job or fucking tires or you name it. They're probably going to look at it and be like, "Oh, you can't pass you until you fix this." And I'm hoping that's not the case, but that is the next thing on the horizon that I'm facing with this van, which has been a financial fucking nightmare because it's breaking and it's not simple shit, you know. A long time ago, I had a fucking 1990 something Ford Ranger. And that thing was rotten to the ground. I think in the beginning of this channel, I was still driving. I think my first fucking video, I hopped in that motherfucker with a broken ankle and drove my old Ford Ranger that I owned outright. But it was rusting. It was starting to fall apart. And then it got to a point where the exhaust system was just falling apart. Like they told me I had to replace the whole fucking thing. And it was probably a good $1,500 repair, which is more than the value of the truck at that point. Well, as you know, I've had my van crashed into over the winter, and then that was $10,000 in repairs and a huge reduction in equity for the vehicle. So that puts me underwater on it. Like if I were to try and sell it, Carfax is going to come up. There's been an accident, and it's going to have a problem. Recently, I figured out that I had locked out of the car, but I had the keys with me, and I couldn't get back in the car because it was locked and running. And when it's locked and running, your only option to get in and out is the physical key. Well, because some dickhead smashed into it over the winter, I couldn't get back into the fucking thing. And we were camping. We were in the middle of fucking nowhere. Me and my girlfriend were camping in the van. And I had left it running because it was hot out and I didn't want all our food to get all fucked up or anything to melt or any of that kind of shit. So I go to unlock it with the key and guess what? Can't get in. Key doesn't work. Because when they changed the fucking door, it's the door with the only key, by the way. You can't just go over to the other side, use the key over there. No. No. Somehow in the infinite wisdom, we've gone with fully electronic locks with only one backup plan, and if that backup plan don't work, you're locked out of your vehicle. Thankfully, I had AAA. Took them a few hours to get out. I was miserable the whole fucking day. Blew the whole point of the trip. I was trying to relax after the death of my friend, and ended up anxious as fuck because we were locked out. I was strongly considering putting a rock through the window of my van because we had no cell signal, none of that shit. I had to call on a landline, and of course, you can't do anything nowadays without your fucking cell phone, apparently, because they kept calling me my cell phone even though I didn't answer. Then eventually, they got a hold of my girlfriend who had spotty signal because she has Canadian whatever the hell cell service, and it seems to work in places that mine doesn't. They were calling family, and basically they need to get a hold of you as they send somebody out to you. And I didn't have that capability, being that we were in the middle of the fucking Adirondacks. So that's another thing that's broken about my van that needs fixed, because at some point the battery in that little fucking thing's gonna die, and I won't be able to get in the vehicle or to lock the vehicle because the key does not work in the lock. And who knows how much I'm going to get charged to fix that. Because it cost me, what, $1,300, I think it was, $14, somewhere in there, to fix the air conditioning. And it's 21. You know, it's not an old-ass vehicle. You know, it's got 50,000 miles on it now, and I'm pretty sure I put 20,000 of it on there. Doing gig economy. So, the vehicle put me way behind in credit card debt. Because that's the only means I didn't have an emergency fund. The only way I could fix these problems is credit. And guess what? It's looking that way again with the inspection coming up. And with the fucking door lock and the fucking seat that's broken, which made it impossible to do Uber XL at that point. Leaving only Uber, and then still probably getting downrated because there's a big fucking seat missing out of it. Of which I chose to just not do Uber anymore, which put me even deeper into a deficit because Uber was probably the top income of all the gig apps. Now, deliveries, there have been tanking in rates. We're talking 60 cents a mile. Now, if you're using your own vehicle with your own insurance and your own bullshit, and your own gas, and your own expenses, and your own taxes, 75 cents a mile is how much you need to make to break even. That means you make $0 per hour. But for some reason, there's a bunch of dumbasses out there that are choosing to accept 60 cents a mile or $18 an hour if you go by time, but that's not how you compute it because you're putting miles on your vehicle, you're draining the equity out of your vehicle, you're increasing your maintenance costs almost exponentially depending on what kind of vehicle you got. And on top of that, you're paying for fuel. You know, you're basically just using your vehicle like a fucking credit card at that point because you're going to have to pay it back at some point with interest because guess what? Your vehicle value is going to tank. And none of the gig apps give a flying rat's ass at how much equity you're losing at their expense while they barely give you minimum wage per the hour that you're doing it. So, yeah, gig economy, fail. Reselling. Everybody and their mother is reselling right now. So much so that a lot of the thrift stores are now just skipping the middleman. They're going straight to the internet, trying to sell off their shit and taking all the meat off the bone for people who want to resell. Not to say that you can't still go out there and yard sale and do all of that and try and make deals and do all of that. But the days of just going to thrift stores and reselling shit, that's over with. Not to say that it's not something that's on my horizon, and if I can't work anymore, I'll probably do that at the bare minimum. But it's not enough to keep up with all of this debt that I've been accumulating, nor do I really have the capital to keep it going or the amount of storage space that you need to keep it going. So I'm actually giving most of my reselling inventory to my girlfriend, who is also doing some reselling on her own. So up in Canada. So reselling, back burner, maybe someday, not enough to get me out of the hole. What else did I try? Oh, YouTube. What can I say? If I put out at least 1 to 2 videos a week, I'll make maybe $100 a month. At best. Sometimes a little more thanks to the generosity of my subscribers, but bottom line is that's unreliable and doesn't happen very often and will not put me in the green as far as getting me out of the deficit, the budget deficit. You know, if only the government could figure this shit out. They run a budget deficit, and what do? They just raise the credit limit every fucking year. Who knew? Maybe I should just get a new credit card every year or every 6 months and just live off of that until I have $100,000 in credit card debt. Wait, that sounds like the average fucking American budget nowadays, doesn't it? But I could see the writing on the wall, you know. I'm in the neighborhood of $7,000 or $8,000 in credit card debt right now. And I knew it was going to keep climbing till either it maxed out before they upped my limit or I apply for another credit card and get approved. Because everybody, once they smell the blood in the water, they come. They want you to have your credit. But I don't want to be in that level of debt. I don't even want that credit card limit to go up. I was kind of happy with where it's at. So I need to get the fuck out of that. And none of these other things I've tried is working on. Trading. I still am hopeful for trading, but I know I can't make a living at it. I cannot, without like $100,000 in capital to invest and to be able to take the swings and the losses that happen if you're day trading. Aside from being a passive investor and waiting 10 years, keep in mind my expiration date is 62 according to statistics for trucking. So, am I supposed to invest for the next 12 years only to drop dead right around the time I have enough capital to live off of my investments? Yeah, that ain't happening. Yeah. Don't do what I did. This is stupid shit. All of this stuff I've done, none of it's worked out. The only thing that's still working is I still am in this fucking box. I could still come out here and drive this truck. After 22 years of driving. And I want out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not in here because I love this box. I'm not out here saying, oh, I love trucking. Nope, that's not me. I've already got people backing into shit. Fucking the stupidity out here since I left 6 months ago has only increased exponentially. Like I can't get through a day without seeing somebody wreck, without seeing somebody being a complete piece of shit in the way they drive, the way they park. It's crazy out here. And I could see why the average age is 62. I'm going to get fucking killed. I just drove by an accident a half hour ago where an SUV was crumpled up into a little fucking ball. Traffic backed up for fucking miles. This is in Illinois. But it's the only way I can make enough money to pay my debt that I stupidly got. All because I wanted to be out of the truck. And it's landed me back in here. So I don't have a plan right now. I mean, there's things I'd like to do, but 12 years. I got 12 years left. 12 good years if I'm lucky. My health holds together. By the way, been keto a little while. Lost 8 pounds. Falling off keto on the road. Long story short, keto works. It's hard to stick to when you're addicted to shit, and it's definitely a pain in the ass when you don't cook. And I don't cook out here. When I work all day, last thing I want to do is get in the fucking back of this thing and cook. The only cooking I can do is in a fucking microwave. And yeah, I can microwave some shit. Try eating the same fucking keto meal every fucking day for a week. Let me know how that goes. Let me know how long it is before you walk in and get you some Chester's chicken. Or a fucking slice of pizza or something. Because you're tired of eating the same Walmart shit every fucking day. So, yeah, I'm defeated. So, for those of you who are rooting for me to fail, congratulations. You got what you want. Here I am. I'm in the fucking truck. It's great. It's wonderful. I don't know. I wish I had some wisdom other than teaching you through my own failings, on how to improve your life or maybe have some form of retirement, which most people don't have. I know I'm not alone. You don't even know anything. You could just go on TikTok and you'll see that there are just tons of people that are in this situation where they're in this debt treadmill. Their debts are growing and their income is shrinking and people are getting laid off. AI is kicking people out of jobs. The economy's going downhill, but yet somehow I have enough freight right now, so I'm not going to complain. That's the other thing that could happen, by the way. If I'm in this box, doesn't mean I'm going to be able to pay down my debts. It's the goal. My goal right now, full-time, till I pay down my debts, and then part-time. Not quitting trucking, just dropping down to casual at some point when I can afford it. When I'm not in debt up to my fucking eyeballs, to where the only thing I got to worry about is my van. And even then, it'll be probably 3 weeks out, 3 weeks off is what I'm going to end up keep in as my schedule for as long as I'm healthy enough to drive a truck. Which, by the way, blood pressure could kick in at any time and knock that the fuck out, especially if I'm eating shitty shit, which I don't always eat. I do have some keto on the truck. My rule right now, keto on the truck. Anything I do outside the truck, don't have to obey the rules, so to speak. I realize it's not the healthiest way to do keto, but it does keep me eating less sugary shit, that kind of stuff. And right now, the only thing I'm eating outside of keto is I have bread. I'll go in, I'll buy a thick, meaty sandwich, and that'll be it. No fries, no shakes, none of that. Just, I have bread on my sandwich, and that's to conserve the keto wraps that I keep on the truck, of which I can put cold cuts, processed meats, which is not good for blood pressure, and other shit in. So, I don't know. I'm going to be caught in this loop of bouncing in and out of keto, cheat days regularly, that kind of shit, to try and just maintain my weight. As long as I don't gain weight out here, it's fine. I can focus more on losing more weight and becoming healthier when I actually can get out of the truck. But I could do all of that and get hit by a motherfucker in another truck tomorrow and die. So not a lot of motivation going on right now. I've been dragging my feet to make a video for obvious reasons. I've had to process a lot, and it's just so much all at once that I'm sorry that this video sounds like a lot of bitching, but I'm just admitting defeat is what it is. I don't have any positivity going right now other than the fact that my girlfriend is cool with me doing this. By cool, I mean she's unhappy about it, but she's like, I realize you got to do this or else. And it is. I got to do this or else. It's either this or bankruptcy, which some would say, yeah, go ahead, go bankrupt. No vehicle, all of that. Bad credit, can't get another vehicle, got to start over from nothing. Sure. But my girlfriend's dead set against that, so this is the alternative. Using the last thing in my skill set that I can go out and make enough money to pay these debts and these bills. And I can still do that in trucking in the prison box. Because that's what this is. Every day, stuck in this box. And I don't know. There's got to be a better way. I keep thinking of all the things I've tried, of all the things I could try, and nothing's really jumping out at me in today's modern economy and modern society as monetizable. As things that I can make a good living at that haven't been tried by everybody who doesn't want to work like this their entire life. And I think it's time to come to the realization that the next 12 years of my life, at least half of them, if not more, is going to be spent in this box. Unless I can somehow get debt free again, which would take a couple of years to pay off the van. But we'll see. My goal, like I said, full time until my credit cards are all paid down to a zero balance or to a balance of like 100 on each one. And then I have a lot of leeway at that point, credit wise. Rebuild an emergency fund at that point. That's the goal as well. And once I have a nice, solid emergency fund and the credit card balances are all under $100 each, and then maybe knock down some of the van, but I don't think I could take it down unless I keep working full time. Then maybe I can step back, be more casual, take more time off. But I think the pipe dreams at this point, it's time to wave the white flag and realize I made this decision 20-something years ago to be a truck driver. And as much as I've tried over the years to get out of this, This is it. This is what I got to do. You know, I did get a pay raise. You know, they raised the pay for over the road, so that's good. You know, it's not what it should be still, but I'm not going to complain. It's probably the most positive thing that came out of this is I quit for 6 months and came back to a pay raise. So that, you know, that'll probably keep me pretty loyal at this point. So, anyways, this just goes to show what the fuck do I know? I'm not an expert. I'm just an asshole. Which brings me to this channel. I'm going to try and put videos out, but I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to be whenever I can fucking get to it. And I will tell you that there's some times out here where I won't have time to edit, to film. I just heard something. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't seen it affect my channel that AI is going to be demonetized in the future. I still want to do my music, but I don't even have time to do that. I have to choose what I want to do. And 90% of the time at the end of my workday, my choice is laying back, maybe play a fucking video game, maybe watch a video, and then go to bed. And then get up and do it all over again. And that's kind of been my routine. And I'm just being honest with you. It's maintaining a YouTube channel while working full-time trucking is going to be difficult. So there might be like sometimes a video a week, sometimes a couple videos. You know, like if I have a slow week, I'll get on here and bitch about it. Or if I am really busy, you might not hear from me for a few weeks. So we'll see. And my home time is going to be exclusively for my girlfriend. You know, it's going to be to spend time with her. That's the primary objective of my home times. Because that's the bare minimum to maintain a relationship when you're in a truck. So I'm going to have to dedicate that time. So if you're a friend of mine or whatever, and I do state that loosely because after my best friend died, I don't have a lot of close friends left. So there's that. But you're just going to have to get on without me. So, but yeah, it sucks. You know, I'm still mourning the death of my friend, but I'm trying to get my life going again, do something about it. You know, I could have easily just laid down and not done anything for a couple months and just watched my credit card pile up until it was at its limit. But I'm trying to get out ahead of it and not let it get to that point. I don't know why. I only got 12 years left to live, according to statistics. You know, with the way fuckers are driving out here, it's probably going to be less. You know, and I'm still trying to, by the way, disconnect from politics, current events, news, and all of that. That's the other reason I don't want to. If I get back into investing, it's probably going to be passive, as in I'm not really going to pay attention. I'm just going to dollar cost average into something I think is going to be all right through all the messes that's happened, and see what happens there if I invest during this process. Um, but I don't want to fucking watch the news every fucking day and try and figure out how to trade the market based on all of the volatility and stupid shit that people are doing. You know, stupidity is so unpredictable that trading on the market is no different than going to the casino and playing roulette at the fucking roulette table. That's what I equivocate the modern trading is. And some of you would argue with me on that. And, you know, some of you are sitting on your $150,000 Bitcoin right now going, see, you should have bought it back when it was $25,000, dickhead. You know, well, hindsight is 2020. All right. And guess what? I pulled out of the market because of the volatility. XRP didn't go anywhere, still hasn't gone anywhere. And that's what I was wait. I was banking on XRP at one point, and then when I saw that the rug was getting pulled, I was like, that's that. And despite Bitcoin shooting up, the fact that XRP's remained down tells me that the only reason Bitcoin is valued at 150,000 right now is because the dollar has fallen that much in value. you know. So, I don't know. I don't want to get involved in all of that. I'm done with politics. I'm done with current events. I got 12 years left to live. I don't want to waste all of the time being pissed off about all the stupid shit that I have no control over. And I don't. I can vote with my dollars. And guess what? I'm voting with my dollars. I'm not doing subscriptions to stupid shit. I'm not spending my time watching this stuff. I want to really pull out of it. That's why I'm getting back into gaming, because at least if I'm gaming, I'm locked into that. It's an escapist activity. You know, I'm thinking of actually getting into making games and doing that, and maybe getting back into 3D, even though AI is pretty much taking the shit out of that, but maybe just as a hobby, something to learn, something to keep my brain occupied, something to keep me from getting involved. Something to keep me from getting involved in society's horseshit. So, but that's my thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the culmination of my semi-retirement failure. And if you have any advice, as always, I'm all ears. But that's it for this video. Have a nice motherfucking day. Shit. It's crazy. Just crazy. Alright, now I'm going to edit this video, play some games, because I do have an earlier day today, and I got kind of a laid-back weekend ahead, it looks like. Only have about 500 miles to do tomorrow, and nothing lined up for Sunday, and I doubt I'll get something on Sunday. So, be good. Don't die. Too many people died already.